Hey everyone, Minutia Minute here, coming at you guys with a little bit of a different video today. I am going to take you guys LaserDisc hunting with me. So I got into LaserDisc a couple of years ago. I think it's actually a really cool format. I know it's a little weird. You can obviously find LaserDiscs online to buy, but I like to go to shops around my area, record stores, half-price books, places like that. Obviously, there's not a ton of supply, but you'd be surprised just how many places you can actually find LaserDiscs at. And if you give them enough time to restock, there's always something kind of fun to check out. Today I'm going to be primarily focused on half-price books, and then we're going to wrap up at vintage vinyl, which is a little bit further away from me, but they do have a decent LaserDisc selection, so we're going to have to make the drive if we want to get something good. So, hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, here we are at half-price books number 1. It was a pretty light selection of LaserDiscs, really just 2 shelves, and then there's a little bit underneath here that I kind of ran into later. But, you know, it's always worth taking a look. I'm generally on the lookout for anything that's just kind of a little bit more off the beaten path, stuff you won't find on another format. And here's kind of a cool one, Space Archive Volume 1, the Space Shuttle. Just basically a bunch of mission reports and photos and videos of archival space footage, basically. So that's kind of cool. Set that one aside. Oftentimes you'll find LaserDiscs are hidden by some creepy dude with a saxophone, so you just have to dig around. But yeah, overall, this stuff you're seeing here is just kind of a combination of either stuff I already have or stuff that's not terribly exciting. I've never seen Earthquake. I should watch that at some point. Just watched Ghost recently. As I was scrolling through here, it was kind of cool. Found some more Space Archive stuff. So they had like, I don't know, 4 volumes of this. So definitely took a close look at those as I was kind of going through. But yeah, so I like stuff that's kind of off the beaten path. Anything that's like played to the high quality of LaserDisc picture. So like, think Planet Earth, except in 1993. I'm always interested in stuff like that. I really like looking for like 90s action films. And then I'm always on the look, like the main thing I collect is Criterions. I really like Criterion LaserDiscs. They're always really informative. Lots of cool material, lots to learn. And yeah, actually, as you can see, we're already out of LaserDiscs. We're on to like symphonies and stuff. So yeah, I guess we're on to the next location. Okay, so next location was a bust, actually. So you usually look by the soundtracks, that's where you're going to find the LaserDiscs. And man, was there a big selection of CEDs. So if you don't know what LaserDiscs are, you definitely don't know what CEDs are, but basically it was a competing disc format to LaserDisc. Really a cool format, but not one I've really had any interest in. But basically they were stored in little plastic sleeves, and then you would force that into your player. It would pull the disc out from the sleeve, and then you'd play the movie. However, as I was bumming around in the DVDs, I did find some Star Wars, which I already have these, but then I saw the X-Men Evolution, pretty much the entire cartoon series. It was like everything except for 1 volume. Which I watched the first season when this came out, and I remember liking it. I'm not sure if it's actually any good. I was kind of an X-Men noob at the time. I really got into X-Men when the first movie came out. So it was kind of cool to find all these together, and I went ahead and picked those up. Okay, here we are at Half Price Books number 3. They've got LaserDiscs just kind of tucked away down on the bottom shelf. There's a couple half prices that are like that. Let's see, we got Somewhere in Time. This is one I actually was thinking about picking up for my wife. We just watched Mind Trap with Christopher Reeve from '78, and thought it might be kind of a fun adventure. I've seen it before. It's basically like a love story, but it was kind of expensive. It is available on DVD and Blu-ray, so it's not really a big deal. There were crossing some Criterions there, but nothing really struck my fancy. You'll see, actually, as we continue through this half price, there is a lot of Criterion collections, but they were either overpriced or they were in really bad condition or kind of a combination of both. Bodyguard's a good movie, but I don't know if I need to own it. That might be one I pick up down the road. Apollo 13. It's interesting. It's always interesting to see what catalog titles are kind of floating around out there. Here's a weird one. The Pirates of Penzance? No idea what this one is. I was kind of curious, but not curious enough to risk spending the money on it. I don't remember how much that one was, but it was probably not cheap. Most of them were expensive. If Somewhere in Time was $13, like I can't imagine that one was any cheaper. And those MCA LaserDiscs are kind of, most of those with that kind of format on the cover are pretty early, like mid-'80s, and they are prone to laser rot and just aren't in great condition a lot of times. There was the Bostonian. I looked at that one because it had Christopher Reeve, so in my head I was kind of like, oh, I could do a kind of a Christopher Reeve double feature with my wife. That might be fun, but they were both just unnecessarily expensive. I've never seen the Bostonian. The Chase. What else is floating around in here? Secret of Rowan Inish is one of my wife's favorite movies. I think we have it on DVD though. Green Card, one of the most annoying movies ever. Lamest ending. Such a... Oh, Chase Me. That must be the sequel to The Chase. Just kidding. Yeah, nothing really jumping out at this particular place, at this particular location. Anyway, it's always interesting to see kind of what catalog titles are floating around out there, because it's like, you know, if you were rich enough to own a LaserDisc player at the time, like these were the movies that you were nostalgic for. And it's a lot of Charlie Chaplin and black and white. Got the Bing Crosby collection actually right here. So it's just kind of interesting. I actually buy a lot of these Encore editions and MGM double features on LaserDisc. Kind of a subset that I kind of go after. But if it's Bing Crosby, I'm not much of a Bing Crosby guy. Oh, here's a Criterion. That's one I might actually go back and pick up. It depends on how much it was. It might have just been kind of expensive, but I've never actually seen Midnight Cowboy. I need to see it. Blow Up is one that I might have picked up, but it was $15. Swing Time's a good movie. I can't remember. I might have that Criterion already. I'm not sure. So, got some early Will Smith there. Madness of King George. Yeah, so, you know, just nothing really grabbing me anyway at this particular location. So, we got the CAV for Jurassic Park, $14.99, and I'm pretty sure that box was busted in the corners. Some Like It Hot. This is another one like a Criterion I probably would buy, but it was $30, and the box was literally destroyed when I look closer at it. There, you can't really see it on camera, but I mean it was trashed. Every corner of it was broken. Another copy of High Plains Drifter. Another weird catalog title of The Miracle of Morgan's Creek. No idea what that is. And on to the main event, vintage vinyl. So this place has got everything. They've got toys, they've got vinyl, they've got CDs, video games, and of course LaserDiscs. So I'm just going to show you the LaserDisc section. But this is, the only store I know of in my area that actually has a true LaserDisc section. So that's pretty cool. I don't come down here a ton because it takes a while for their inventory to cycle through. But they do have a pretty broad selection. So if I really want to go find something, this is the place I'm going to go. So you can see up top here, we've got the Star Wars trilogy on CAV. It is super beat up. I've actually got 2 copies of this, but neither of them are perfect, so I'm always on the lookout for another one. Sci-Fi Matinee. This is the kind of thing I would love to get on LaserDisc, but a lot of them are in the MGM Midnight Movie DVDs, so I've got those that way. There's Close Encounters of the Third Kind on Criterion. That's one I've been looking for. And yeah, so just digging through the stacks, looking to see what we can find here. Amadeus, I almost picked that one up because on Blu-ray that is only the director's cut, whereas the theatrical cut is available on DVD and LaserDisc. Adventures of Baron Munchausen there. That's a great movie. Terry Gilliam. Kind of an infamous flop, but really, really good movie. Alien 3 is on my list to get, but didn't pick that up today. You got Batman Returns here. So that's cool. I really like the cover art for Batman Returns. It's kind of like the character posters strung together as opposed to the theatrical one sheet. Basic Instinct. This is a Pioneer Special Edition. I will buy this someday, but it was $30. It's sealed. Pioneer Special Editions for LaserDisc are generally the best LaserDiscs. Got the 3M LaserDisc video here. Old school LaserDiscs were pretty much all pressed by 3M, which is a local company for me. Blade Runner on Criterion. That's another one I need to pick up someday, but I'm stubborn. I want to get it for cheap. I've got the 5-disc Final Cut Super Duper Edition on Blu-ray, so I don't really need it on LaserDisc, just something I want to have. Comic Book Confidential. This caught my eye. It's like a documentary on comic books. Stan Lee, Frank Miller, Jack Kirby, all the kind of 90s fads or heavy hitters or classic, evergreen comic book names. Definitely interesting. Pumping Iron I meant to buy. I looked at it and I was like, oh, I'll probably buy that. And then I forgot to go back to it. I will come back to pick that up at some point for sure. The Player. So The Player is an excellent movie. And they had the Criterion version of The Player there for $4.99, which is a killer deal. I think I already have it, so I'm leaving it there. But if I don't, I will be back to pick that one up too. I'm 90% sure I already bought it though. That's one of those movies I've seen several times. It's all about like the cynicism of Hollywood, basically, and all the kind of underhanded stuff that goes on in that town to get movies made. Really cool. Another copy of Somewhere in Time, which is kind of funny. This one was $20, so more expensive, but it was actually sealed. So I don't know. Is it worth an extra $7 for the seal? You tell me. This place does have a lot of Criterions. I'm not sure how many of them we've seen in this video so far, but I found a lot of Criterions while I was hunting, just nothing I needed to get right away, with the exception of Close Encounters, of course. Shipwrecked, I saw that when I was a kid. So much cool stuff at this store. Lots of stuff to buy. I could have spent $200-300 here if I really wanted to. Scream, that's the uncut version, not available anywhere else except on LaserDisc. I have that already though. So yeah, that's vintage vinyl. So I actually had quite a bit of luck hunting for LaserDiscs this time around. Between all the different shops that I went to, I ended up coming away with 11 different LaserDiscs, so I'll show you guys kind of what I picked up and kind of the logic, what my thought process was. A lot of stuff I found at Vintage Vinyl. I had to pare it down quite a bit before leaving there because I would have spent way too much money. Even with the fact that, in general, when you're hunting for LaserDiscs, they're going to be pretty cheap. It's part of the fun of hunting for this format. So I've kind of organized these with cheaper stuff first, and then I'll get into the ones that I spent a little bit more on and why I felt like it was worth it. So without further ado, we'll go to what I picked up from Half Price. Overall, Half Price was kind of a bust for the most part, with one big exception, which is one of the Half Prices had a whole bunch of these Space Archives. So this is Space Archive Volume 1. I have no idea how many volumes there are. I'll have to do some research on where these come from. VideoVision put them out, and there's a whole bunch of different ones, it looks like. I was able to pick up Volume 1. That's all about the space shuttle. Volume 3, which is looks like a bunch of archival footage of Mars and beyond, quote unquote. Volume 5, which I'm not quite clear what this one is, and it's blocked by the postcard, which is kind of funny. And it just says Greetings from Earth. So yeah, I don't know what this part says. Oh, Greetings from Earth. So there you go. Anyway, so I'm guessing that's photography of Earth from space for the most part. And then Volume 6, which is Encounters with Comet Halley, Uranus, and Zero G. So at some point these switched over to being by the Optical Data Corporation. And my guess is with these, they are largely literally just archival footage. It actually has program notes on the inside of it. And if you go into it, it literally goes through like all the different photography, all the different video that's presented, and what it is you're looking at. So I'm guessing these aren't like necessarily narrated or anything like that. It's literally just archival footage. So pretty excited to dig through these though. I think it's gonna be kind of fun. I'll let you guys know how it goes. So all of these combined ran me, I want to say they were about $5 a piece. I can't remember exactly. I already took the price tags off, but like basically between $5 and $7, which is pretty much what I would want to pay for any given LaserDisc. So pretty much everything else I picked up came from vintage vinyl. They used to have a much bigger selection than they do now, to the point where they actually had an island with additional laser discs that was right in the center of the room, as opposed to just having the laser discs up against the wall. But what's cool about what they're doing now is it's just a lot more curated. There's a lot less junk. It's generally a lot higher quality merchandise. So for the next round of LaserDiscs I picked up, they were all basically $6 a pop. But what's cool is these are also all sealed, which is pretty amazing. So first up, I picked up Con Air. This is just a schlocky 90s action movie. I love watching 90s movies on LaserDisc. I've got The Rock. I've got some Jean-Claude Van Damme, like Time Cop, things like that. It's just a genre that I enjoy collecting for. And another cool thing about this is, at least according to the price on the back, which originally this was $39.99, this is AC3 audio, so it is in surround sound. So I do have a decoder hooked up to my LaserDisc player, so it will spit surround sound out to my setup in the basement. So kind of excited to hear how that track sounds. Next up, I kind of went on a little bit of a binge with Michael Crichton because they were less expensive, so I picked up Congo, which is a movie I have seen before. It is pretty infamous, and justifiably so. I remember this movie being really terrible, but it's kind of been forever since I've seen it. And again, it kind of fits into that 90s action movie category. And for $6 new sealed, I figured why not? It would be fun. It can sit with my Jurassic Park and Lost World laser discs. And I also picked up Disclosure, which this one was actually $10 sealed, but it's another Michael Crichton movie, so I figured if nothing else, I kind of have a little subset of Michael Crichton laser discs, so that's kind of neat. And Disclosure I've never seen before. I've heard it's really bad, but whatever, it'll be a fun watch. My wife and I just recently watched Ghost and really, really liked that movie. I had never seen that before, so throwing out a little more Demi Moore might be kind of fun. All right, next up, we have a couple of features by Roger Donaldson. So I picked up Cocktail, which, as you can see, this one's a punch out because it's got the little hole in there. But it is new sealed otherwise. And this is Tom Cruise, another movie that I've never seen before. I recently picked up Sleeping Dogs, which is, it was put out by Arrow Video. It's from the late 70s. I think it's Roger Donaldson's first film. And I'm almost positive it's Sam Neill's first film, which is kind of the main reason I picked it up. It's like a New Zealand film. And so I thought it might be fun to watch that in conjunction with this, because I had never seen this. And then I also picked up another movie I've seen before, but also by Roger Donaldson, and that's Species, which, honestly, Species kind of has its cult following. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, but it's one of those I always end up going back to it because I think I'm going to like it more than I do. So we'll just have to see how it is when I rewatch it this time. This one was $10, also new. And the thing that really kicked it over the top for me was this does have an AC3 digital audio track. So again, I'll be able to hook it up to my surround sound and enjoy some of the 90s surround sound effects, which I'm always looking for an excuse to do that because a lot of my LaserDiscs are in stereo. So on to my penultimate LaserDisc pickup. I did grab the Criterion Collection edition of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So this one was $14.99, so it's a little bit on the pricier side of what I would generally want to pay. But overall, it was in really good shape. A lot of the times, these boxed editions, the corners get ripped on them really badly, and this one is nice and clean. When I was looking at the back, I was pretty excited because this does have the original 1977 version, and then there's an interactive documentary featuring video interviews with Steven Spielberg, Douglas Trumbull, John Williams, other principals, and has over 1,000 still frames from different aspects of the production. It has screenplay excerpts, deleted scenes, publicity material, all kinds of stuff. So, one of the things I really love about LaserDisc is how they do their special features, because a lot of times it'll be like a multimedia presentation, because they would use the still images that you could get on LaserDisc on pause, and so you'd have like a series of texts that you would read, information about what you were about to watch, and then they would have a little presentation or like a deleted scene or um, the original theatrical trailer, things like that. So it creates this sort of PowerPoint of the movie, and a lot of times it's a lot more educational because there is reading involved, so they can get into a little bit more detail. And it's a little bit less of a kind of cursory overview of what making the movie was like. So I don't know if that's something that's available on the DVDs or Blu-rays, but I know it'll be on this, so I'm excited to be able to watch it here. The thing about my collection is, like, I'm really on the hunt for three things when I'm searching for laser discs. I want to get a complete Criterion Collection set. Someday, it'll take a while. I'm not in a huge rush, but that's like a long-term goal. This fits into that. Another kind of subset category I'm always on the hunt for is IMAX movies or like nonfiction movies, things like that, which the Space Archives kind of fits into that subset. And then 90s action. I'm always looking for 90s action films. I just love collecting those on Laserdisc. So for everything I picked up, everything pretty much fit into that sort of category. The only exception is my last pickup, which I partly picked up for you guys, because this is one where I might just watch it and do a little review as part of my usual Minutia Minute stuff. And that is this Comic Book Confidential, which this looks like it was just made. Like, it literally looks brand new. It's on kind of like a matte cardboard finish for the sleeve. But it was printed in 1991. It's done by the Voyager Company. They print all of the Criterion Collection of laser discs, or printed a lot of them at least. And yeah, even though this was $25, which is kind of a heavy lift for me when I'm buying laser discs, it's brand new, looks really, really interesting, and I'm just pretty excited to check it out and see what it's all about. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little diversion from the norm of what I do videos on. I hope you found it informative and fun. If you want to know more about Laserdiscs, let me know down in the comments. I would love to talk more Laserdiscs with you guys, because it is something I'm pretty passionate about. I just think it's a cool technology. And in the meantime, I'll be back with more comic book content for you guys soon. So have a good one.